The 2018 NFL Draft is quickly approaching, and we are continuing our coverage and our profiles of as many players as we can get to. I'm Andy Singleton, People's Pen on Twitter, joined as always by the Gridiron Scholar, John Lobb, and we're trying to get to 50 players in this library by the time it's said and done, by the time the first pick is announced at the 2018 NFL Draft. Today we're going to be looking at another running back from a smaller school in Fordham's Chase Edmonds. So, John, this guy screams production, and this has gone all the way back to his high school days. Didn't garner national attention, didn't garner any huge invites from bigger schools. But then he goes to the Patriot League and blows away chunks of huge yardage. So what should we expect from this guy moving forward?
Andy, he is one of the most exciting and interesting prospects to look at. You're absolutely right. Coming from the Fordham Rams out of the FCS, he's clearly been overlooked by most draft nicks and the casual fans. I'll admit, it's difficult to get film on anyone who plays at the FCS level. But once you kind of find out about one of these prospects, like Carson Wentz, Joe Flacco, Kyle Lauletta, you have to do your homework and you have to dig deeper. To me, he has NFL production, and you cannot overlook him in the third or fourth round of dynasty drafts. He's got a compact frame at 5'9" and 205 pounds. He looks like a classic satellite back. Tyreek Cohen, James White, Duke Johnson, the type of player on a creative offense, and you get him into space, he can be a difference maker. And you referenced his freshman year, he captured the Jerry Rice Award at the FCS level. He made an immediate impact with over 1,800 yards and 23 touchdowns. And as a sophomore, he ended up as the Patriot League Conference Offensive Player of the Year. And he came back as a junior as an incredible stud, Andy. He was first team All-American with 1,799 yards rushing and 19 touchdowns. This is a young man who recorded 3 consecutive seasons over 1,600 yards on the ground. He got hurt his senior year, so the numbers don't look very good, and it was the first time that he did not exceed over 1,000 yards. What you need to look at, he scored 74 career touchdowns. But this is an amazing statistic. He averaged 153.7 yards from scrimmage per game. Granted, it's at the FCS level, but that is stupendous production. He averaged 6.2 yards per carry and 86 career receptions. So he has everything you're looking at from a production standpoint on the field. Now let's look at the scouting report. What I see when I watch the film: great cutting ability, stunning lateral agility, and bountiful balance. He has everything you're looking for in a satellite back, and he actually is very productive at that level between the tackles. He has very good vision and ankle-breaking jump cuts. He easily changes direction and rapidly hits top speed in the open field. I really like this young man. He's not going to be a 20-carry-a-game runner, but if you use him for 8 to 10 carries, you get him in the open field with 3 to 5 targets in a game, I think this young man can make a difference. But what really opened my eyes to him was his combine athletic ability scores. His 40-yard dash was 4.55. Would have liked to have seen it a little bit better, but his 3-cone drill at 6.79 and his 20-yard shuttle at 4.07 told me that he has the athletic ability to make it in the NFL and be productive. If you had heard rumors, New England Patriots looked at him and talked to him at the combine. So when New England's interested in someone, I'm clearly opened my eyes and I've got to watch film. I like this young man, Andy. I think he's going to be gobbled up in the 4th to 6th round. I have him as a 5th-round draft pick, but I think he can play in the NFL.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, and I said at the top, do not adjust your sets. The stats you see up there are real. He put up prolific numbers in the Patriot League in 44 games. Unfortunately, he had leg injuries in his senior year, which limited his on-field ability, so he didn't get to break FCS records for most total yards, but 74 touchdowns in 3.5 seasons is mind-boggling. You look at the size, and people are going to say he's undersized, and then to play in the Patriot League, people are going to knock him for that as well. 5'9", 205. I got to tell you, though, 2 players come to mind when I think of him. We can't look at Baker Mayfield, say he was a walk-on at every stop, did the job, and not apply that same logic to somebody like Chase Edmonds. I mentioned he was super productive in high school, didn't get any major offers, goes to Fordham, and is super productive. So he's basically, to me, like the Baker Mayfield of running backs. Then I look at his production and what he's done and the number of carries. He had 938 carries, John, in 3.5 seasons. The next guy that comes to mind is a running back, and that's Brian Hill, formerly of Wyoming, who was Josh Allen's lead ball carrier. Goes to the league, gets picked up by Atlanta. Now he's bounced around. I believe he's with Cincinnati now. He's yet to do anything. He was somebody I had high hopes for coming out, but again, it was going to be the right situation. I'm really not sure what to make of Chase Edmonds at this point. He's got good speed. He's in the 4.5 range for running backs. He put up 19 reps on the bench press. It's not like he's, diminutive other than just his 5'9 size, but 205 is not light in the loafers for a running back. So there's a lot to like with him. He also was able to do it in the receiving game. 86 receptions, another 900 yards, and another 7 touchdowns receiving in college as well. There's always going to be guys like Austin Eckler that come into the league, and another Charger while we're at it, and Brandon Oliver. Not to say that Chase Edmonds is like those guys, but guys that nobody was talking about on draft day, and then all of a sudden they're finding themselves with a role and a position in the NFL and being productive with it. So I do think Edmonds can be productive, but it really is going to come down to where he lands and what his opportunity becomes. I don't know that he's that next level player to carve out a role and force his way into a game chart, but I believe if he finds himself there, he can find success with it. I hope that makes sense. But John, what else does he remind you of?
In a way, remember Corey Clement coming out of Wisconsin? Wasn't a player that we talked a lot about as draft nicks, but he ended up in the right system with a very creative offensive coordinator. We saw him catch that amazing touchdown in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. I do believe that Edmonds is going to be dependent on his landing spot, and I would love to see him with one of those young head coaches or offensive coordinators who know how to get their backs in space, how to get them in positions where they can win. Unlike a Norv Turner, who's a little bit old school, I do think it's going to be dependent on where he lands, Andy.
Yeah, you don't rush for 5,862 yards at any level in anywhere in the world without having some semblance of what you're doing. So Chase Edmonds is definitely somebody to have at least an idea of who he is, especially in a dynasty league, because this is a guy that this is the epitome of what a lottery ticket is to me in dynasty leagues, especially at a running back position. So let us know what you think of Chase Edmonds, though. Is he somebody that you're monitoring or targeting, somebody that you're even aware of? Leave it in the comments below. Leave your likes, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and go back and check out all the players we're covering. Follow John and myself on Twitter, and stick around for a while. Watch all the other players we've covered. Thanks for watching today.